What if your greatest disaster was actually your biggest breakthrough? Maya had everything until one night it was all destroyed. But what happened next? No one saw coming. Maya stood before the ruined canvas, her hands trembling. 3 years of work, her masterpiece, her statement to the world, lay destroyed on her studio floor. A burst pipe had flooded her basement workspace overnight, and now her life's work was nothing but a mess of tattered, water-stained fragments strewn across the flooded floor. "It's over," she whispered to the empty room, sinking to her knees among the soaked rags and brushes. The prestigious Hartman Gallery had finally given her a shot after a decade of rejection letters. Now, she had nothing to show them but excuses. Her phone buzzed with a text from her mother. "Remember what Grandma used to say? Every disaster is just a story that hasn't found its ending yet." Maya almost laughed. What kind of ending could possibly come from this? For 3 days, she didn't leave her apartment. Friends called. She didn't answer. The gallery director emailed. She couldn't bear to respond. On the 4th morning, she returned to the studio, not to create, but to clean up the mess. As she sorted through the debris, she found fragments of her ruined canvas, pieces where the paint had dried in strange patterns as the water receded. The disaster had created textures and color combinations she never would have thought to try. One fragment in particular caught her eye, a swirl of blue and gold that seemed to capture exactly what she'd been trying to express in her original work. Almost without thinking, she began to collect the fragments. By sunset, she had arranged them on the floor in a pattern that told a new story, one of destruction and rebirth, of order emerging from chaos. It wasn't her original vision. It was something else entirely, something more honest. The next morning, she called the gallery director. "I need to show you something different than what we discussed," she said, her voice steadier than it had been in days. When the exhibition opened, visitors didn't see a traditional canvas. Instead, they encountered an installation. Dozens of canvas fragments mounted on reclaimed wood from the flooded studio, arranged in a spiraling pattern that drew the eye inward. At the center hung a small, intact piece of the original work, a reminder of what had been lost. Critics called it a meditation on resilience and a breakthrough in form. What none of them knew was that the artist had broken through in more ways than one. Later that night, after the crowds had gone and the reviews had started rolling in, Maya sat alone in the empty gallery. Her phone buzzed with another text from her mother. Grandma would have loved it. This time, Maya did laugh, but softly, with wonder rather than bitterness. The disaster hadn't just found its ending. It had found a beginning she never could have imagined. Life doesn't always go as planned, but sometimes the unexpected detours lead us to something even greater. Challenges are not the end. They are opportunities in disguise. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Unleash Your Light for more powerful and inspiring content.